Fuck you mean, And it's simply hot or not. Welcome to today's show, episode 7, Real Talk, the show. And here's the franchise guru. I think my man Hitter is here. We might get our top 10 from out of him. I don't know yet, but all I do know is a lot to talk about. And man, the topic of the day is hot or not. So when I get to it, I'm going to talk about if I think these players is, like that or not. So right now we in week 9. I got to go back to that, even though we're in week 11. We go back to week 9. Joey Cummings, 26 carries for 338 rushing yards. This man averaged 13 yards a carry. He is holding this Cowboys team down with 6 rushing touchdowns in that game. Zion Ali had 7 tackles, 5 interceptions, and a touchdown in this game. Chill, they took the Seahawks to the woodshed in that game. They went crazy. 22 for 39, 343. 6 passing touchdowns for AI. 3 sacks, though. 4 carries, only 46 yards. And then Shaq Presley, the middle linebacker for the Houston Texans, had 4 tackles, 2 interceptions, and took 2 to the crib. We get to week 10. Kyler Murray went 31 for 41 for 565. 5 pass touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, 68 yards rushing, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Thad Carmichael is still on the scene. 6 tackles, 4 sacks, and a half a game, and a forced fumble. I only played half the game, and he was able to do that in 2 halves of football. Akil Glass stepped up for 14 for 22, 558 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's his breakout game. And Caught Young, once again, is in the backfield 5 times. I mean, he had 7 sacks in one game, comes right back and had 5 sacks. It's hot or not? Yes, it's hot. I like what he's doing with him. 8 tackles, 5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. He was out there beating shit up. Boy, he's on some shit right now. He's looking to make a case as the best pass rusher in the league this year. If he keep it up, you want to give it to him, right? He balling right now, man. We in week 11, so we're going to talk about week 11 shit when we get to it. But right now, I want to just see what we're doing all across the board, yards-wise right now. All right, so let's continue to look at our passing leaders right now. We have Kyler Murray at 4,108 passing yards. Jerry Bradshaw is right behind him, 3,925. Kenny Pickett in his first season as a full-time starter for the Houston Texans is at 3,365 yards. He's balling out. AI, Anthony Iverson, the answer to 3,264 passing yards right now. And Akil Glass, 3,256 right now. That rounds off your top 5. I just want to talk about what's hot, in my opinion. Why is Montana, this is his 4th season right now. I mean, he has 4 completed seasons. This is his 5th season as he's finishing it. But right now, this man has turned it up right now. We would like to see the 57% completion go up. the 21 touchdowns, the 26 interceptions get better. But we will say this guy is above 500 right now. It seems like they are getting it in order over there in Pittsburgh. Listen, if the Steel City get it together over there, that AFC North can really get funky over there, because we do know the Bengals just have to be active. If he's active, we're dealing with a good coach. If they can get it together over there, we can have a four teams over there that can really, get after each other right now. Listen, the golden child is sitting here, Darian Thomas Jr. with 3,144 yards. He makes the number 7th player on this list. Lamar Jackson makes the 8th with 3,062. And then young Bryce Young with 2,994 yards rounds off your top 10 with Derrick King right on the outside looking in. Our touchdown leaders are as follows. Kyler Murray with 55, AI with 40, Bradshaw 37, DT with 36, Kenny Pickett 35, Bryce Young 33, and then you got 28 from Glass, 28 from Weber. And the next man up is the Chiefs quarterback, young quarterback Mark Robinson, in his first time for full time as a starter right now with 26. We got to see the donations and where those donations come from. We're looking for interceptions. So Sam Russell with 42, Mark Robinson for the Chiefs with 32, Malik Willis with 31, Charlie Ward Jr. with 30, and then you got Anthony Iverson and Montana are tied with 26 apiece right now. We got to get him out of that top 5. He went from 3 to 5 though. He's starting to drop a little bit. Let's get to the runners. Let's look at the breakdance right now. Here go the hot knock question when we get to this conversation right now. All right, so Jermaine Tremaine, the Bass man. Listen, 249 carries. Cummings, 232. Streets, 203. They are the guys that have 200 carries or more. And then we get into the next wave of guys where Ruggs, Stokes, Springs, Savage, Peyton. I want to go all the way down to the guys that stop at 50. So 52 will be Boone Jackson. My boy Journey Brown getting the ball. That's what's up. All right, let's take a look at the running backs right now on carries. Right now, we're going to look at yards, and let's have our conversation again. Joey Cummings. All right, man, let's just keep it 100. When I get into this conversation, I would say it like this. Computer games are allowed in this league. With that being said, I've benefited on computer games, right? Folks benefit. Everybody that's, benefited on it, right? But it was a question raised last night about Joey Cummings and him doing his work in games where he actually playing humans and no computer games. So he had 3 of them this year, and those games were not played. He just took the first win in those games, and you can see the difference in him not playing it versus him playing it. Now that's his decision. The guys that do play the CPU, that's their decision, and his rules to follow. And as long as they don't go over those rules, we keep them within base. You know what I'm saying? But I think the argument could be made, hot or not, in this conversation, in this topic, is Joey Cummings absolutely the best running back in the league this year? I'm gonna go with yes. I think he is the best running back in the league this year. The production is there, 8 yards to carry. I'm quite sure we're going to find some other running backs that got, close to that. Let me look at Springs with 8.1. You look at Ruggs with that 7.7. It's huge. They're huge. Ruggs carries are down, too, at 189. We love that production. We look at the yards, though. He's a game out of, if he's on his average, he's one game away from having that 2,000-yard season early. Now, we've had guys get to 2,000 yards faster than week 10, week 11, week 12, but it's on pace. You can see we got a lot of 1,000-yard backs right now, but I don't think the running is as crazy as, we make it out to be. We know the league, we know the game is run base, but I don't think the running is that crazy this year. Even with the carries, we do see a lot of carries, but it's not like crazy though. But what is this man is averaging 185.8, so he's literally averaging 186 yards a game. And on 232 carries, he has 2 fumbles, 44 broke tackles. That's huge. That's big time. He come up out of tackles right now. We're going to see some guys that really break tackles in this league. I think nobody's doing it better than Jaleel Ruggs. But when you dive into Joey Cummings and you just look at what he's doing on the season right now, I think it's very, very special what he's doing right now. All the way back to week 1. And that's just following him. Versus the Broncos, 31-20. Now, he didn't play this game. This was, again, a forced win, 21 from 174, 8.3. And, when you leave it up to the computer for him to do that, that's pretty solid. That gives him, counting yards. Vikings, 31-28, another computer game, 18 carries, 112 yards, 6.2, but he did not play this game. This is the forced win. So this is his player going dummies on the computer. Then he shows up against the Giants and has his first human game. Wins that game 24-21. He had 16 carries in that game, 107 yards, 6.7 yards a pop, 2 touchdowns in that game. Versus the Eagles on the L, he had 18 carries, 132 yards. He still showed up in this game, 7.3, 2 touchdowns. Against the football team, 21-82. Now, this game was a game that was played that ended up dropping, that they didn't play, so it got a fair sim. So then he got 82 yards, 3.9, and 1 touchdown in that game. And he goes back against the Chiefs, and he picks up a big-time day, where his record-breaking. 35 carries, a lot of carries, 35, 422 yards, but 12.1 yards a pop on 4 rushing touchdowns, and that puts him in a record book. Against the Panthers, 33 for 175, 5.33 touchdowns. You can see his stats. Against the Dolphins in a really big game. This was a really good game. 23 carries, 164 yards, 7.1 and 3 touchdowns. And then he goes up against the Seahawks, and then they're hanging 100. 26 carries, 338 yards, 13.0 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. Against the Giants in a losing effort, 24-10, 21 carries, 152 yards, 7.2 yards, no touchdowns though in that game. His only, game where he struggled a little bit in the fumble department was here, week 7 against the Panthers. He fumbled twice. So you look at his season stats and you talk about, the running backs this year and who we're impressed with. It goes along with what he's doing. He's on pace to really, somewhere between 2,500 yards before it's all said and done. Probably could even get close to 3,000, considering he still got 8 games left. I think, if he keeps it up, keeps doing what he's doing, I think he's going to be in a good situation to really hold down that. But he has company right now. And, to have the company that I'm about to talk about is a surprise in my opinion. But it also makes it very, very hard to just single-outly say, yes, he's hot. But is he the best running back in the league this year? I'm going to say not right now. I'm going to say he's on track to be. But I got to go with not. And the reason why I'm going with not is because there's some guys doing really special things right now. It's just sad because one of the guys that's doing something special, we see it all the time, right? When you look at Ruggs on 189 carries for 7.7 pop, he has 38 touchdowns at 161 yards a game. No fumbles on that 189 carries, and he has 51 broken tackles. 529 of those 1447 comes after contact. His longest run is 89. And they say we haven't really seen him take something to the crib. He did take one to the crib, 89. Now, the problem with Ruggs is outside of him having to play the Packers game over to get his 7 touchdowns, a lot of that, in the beginning was computer games. And again, not his fault that he got to play the computer, but that's what happens, right? And then you still take away the Patriots game where that was only a half of football because of the concede. But against the Falcons, he had 18 carries, 6 touchdowns, 119 yards, 6.6. He averaged 11.6 yards a pop against the Panthers. I don't know if this was a game that was played or not. 66 to 6. 28 carries, 325 yards. He had 7 in that game. Comes back against the Saints. We know this was a computer game. 10 carries. His production is down because he want to throw the ball against the computer. So 10 for 136, 13.6 for a pop. He stayed on track here. This guy averaging 100 yards per game right now. Colts game, 52 for 31, 19 carries, 232 yards, 12.2 and 3 touchdowns. Then he comes back in the Packers game. He did this at halftime, so he got the game dropped. Guy's son playing the game and shit like that. So he get to play it over, and he get his stats back. Man. I already know. Very clean house, man, we do. We down bad. Coach on his way out the door. What the Dolphins talking about? We might got to get an interview with Skadimes on the Dolphins right now. We'll get to that. Lions game, 80-3. 27 for 133, 4.94 touchdowns. So you look at, you look at his numbers, right? Where the argument will come for him is the back end of his season, because you take away some of these computer games now because the back end is loaded. He's going to play some good competition, and mostly the schedule he's going to play going back in the back end of it will be users for the most part. So then we'll come back to the Ruggs situation, but the guy is a touchdown machine, man. Period. He's been that since he stepped into the league. And it's never slowed down. The two things that he do better than most running backs is score touchdowns and break tackles. And as long as he stays on pace to do all that, he's always going to be considered one of the better running backs in the league. But my argument this year will be not with Ruggs, not with Bass. It will strictly be the fight right here. Jawan Springs with 8.1 yards a carry versus Joey Cummings with 8 yards a carry right now. So this will be the fight right now. Springs at 25 rushing touchdowns. So if you look at it, nobody's scoring more touchdowns outside of Ruggs. The next man up is Jawan Springs. Late bloomer too. I mean, he's in his 7th season out of Jackson State, right? But he's in his 7th season. We haven't really heard of this running back. We do remember him being the fastest running back. He ran the fastest 40 in his draft class. But inactive. We didn't really get to see him coaching situations over there. They go into this new coaching staff, and we're seeing the same thing we saw with the Raiders with Bass. And what we're seeing is, Bass starts stepping up when they got the coach and the scheme, and the same thing is happening in Houston right now. I mean, you can't ignore the fact that this man is averaging 8.1 yards a carry, and he's doing it on 174 attempts. So you look at that, 1447, 1432, 1858, 14. So he's fourth on the list in rushing yards right now, second in the league in touchdowns, and first in yards per carry. He's playing pretty good right now, so I like that race right now. Now, when you talk about a season and a breakout season, that's exactly what Jawan Springs is having. He's having a breakout season. So when you got a guy that's on a breakout season, are you comfortable, or are we comfortable, hot or not? Is he hot right now? Of course. But does he have the body of work to really be called the best running back right now? I would say not, because this is a breakout season. He has to follow it up with a big time season behind it for us to really be like, all right, So right now we're seeing a breakout with him. But when it comes down to just this season, there's no way you can ignore what Jawan Springs is doing this season right now. He's one of the hottest running backs in the league right now, and really his story is untold, and really he's under the radar until after this show. Guys will pay attention to him now. So Jawan Springs is not only, fighting for the rushing title, fighting for the touchdown title, which I really don't see him nobody catching that 38, but he's fighting to, Pro Bowl. He's fighting to be the league's leading rusher. He's not, not that far off. I noticed Cummings has 858, and the next man up is 14, down there 400 yards behind him. But it's a lot football left, and he averaging that 8.1, man. Imagine if he's getting the ball somewhere between 25 to 30 times a game. Matter of fact, let's take a look at his production during game times and what he's actually doing. How do they utilize him in game situations? So let's take a look at it. I don't think we're going to find a game where he has 30 carries in it. So here we go. Against the Ravens, this is where we knew this kid can play football. He stepped up against a really tough Ravens defense where, they're really good against the run, and he gashed them for 8.4 yards a pop. In a losing effort, 13 for 109 in that game. He was their bell cow. He was balling out. And he follows that up in the 49ers game, gets 26 carries on a 5.7 average. He scored and had 149. Then he goes up against the Colts and hangs 70 on the Colts with 19 carries. He averaged 13.3. I think when you got dog running backs, you got to have some type of double-digit average stat. When you get those, you're on to something right now. So this is why we know he's having a great season, because in week 3, he averaged 13.3 a pop, 4 touchdowns. He had 5 broke tackles in that game. All right, in a losing effort against the Jaguars, he didn't make the 100-yard club, but he had 20 for 81, 41, 4.1 yards a pop and a touchdown. All right, so at this point so far, that's the only game we've seen this year where he didn't go for 100 yards, and that was against the Jaguars. Against the Jets, 74, 42, 20, and 136, 6.8 and 4 touchdowns. Against the Colts, he comes back, gets the dub again, 28, 17, 14 for 157, 11.2 and a touchdown. Takes it to the Titans, 73 to 20, averages on 23 carries. He goes 268, and he does it again, double digits. So that's 3 times this season where this man averaged double digit yards per attempt. 13.3, 11.2, and then against the Titans, 11.7, and he had 5 rushing touchdowns in that game. And I think that was his highest output touchdown-wise in the game, 5. Rams, 83-31, 10 for 83, 8.3 yards a pop, 3 touchdowns. Steelers, 16 for 104, 6.5, 3 touchdowns, and then he goes into Seattle, and he goes 59 for 37 was the score, 15 for 93, 6.2 and 2 touchdowns. He's having an outstanding year. The highlight part of his season is the 3 games that he rushed for over 10 yards per carry. And that's just in the running department we're talking about with these running backs right now. So I would say hot right now. Best running back in the league conversation, not yet. But Joey Cummings is in that best running back in the league conversation. For 6 seasons straight, this man has been, part of the reason why the Cowboys are who they are and how they are, period. They don't, Falk made the statement they won't win games without him. I wouldn't go as far as saying that, but what I would say is he's the Emmitt Smith. He's the Millennium Emmitt Smith. You know what I mean? How Emmitt was for the Cowboys in the 90s, this guy is that for the Millennium. He's really that important for this team. He's that good. Now, when you look at the guys I talked about, you continue to go down the line and you see names on here, and not that I'm ignoring Tremaine Bass, but I got him outside my conversation right now. Stokes as well. He's outside of that conversation, but he's averaging a whopping 7. ETN also 7.2. You got Hal Street with 5.4. Walter Payton is another back that I talked about. I think Boone Jackson is starting to turn it over right now. What I mean by that is, I think Boone Jackson, being the starter this year, averaging 6.6 a pop, we're starting to see the boom that we was expecting to see from day one. Now he's in an offense that, hasn't, I'm not saying they can't, but hasn't yet showed their run game yet in the power game. I mean, they run the football over there, but it's not the thing they want to do over there. So in the touches he do get, he has to really, show off in those carries he get. At 6.6, he only got 152 carries on the year. So if he was somewhere where the other guys was at, we'll be, probably seeing a lot more yards out of him right now, right? So, you dig deep and you just look at what he's done, the games he has played. I mean, he's getting his 100 yards on minimum carries. Against the Jets, 10 pop, 101. He averaged 10.1 and a touchdown in that game. He does it again and against the Rams, 11.9. On 17 carries, he reached the 200-yard mark and 4 touchdowns. And the Eagles, 51-28, came down and said nothing's doing for 3.5. To be elite, you can't have these type of games at all. Like, you can't. You got to still somewhere. Your bad day has to be 4 yards a pop. Against the Chargers, 19 carry, 131. He showed up, 6.9, almost 7 yards a carry in the losing effort. Against the Cowboys, that game, he had a major game in this game, but so did the Cowboys players. This game got dropped, and they just force-winded it for the Cowboys. So, computer didn't do anything in that game, but I'd rather see that 4 yards of carry than that 3.5. Against the Giants, he had a struggling day. 15 carries, 40 yards, 2.7. He scored 2 touchdowns, but, he pretty much didn't get out the backfield that day. Now, why am I talking about Boone Jackson? Because this was one of those backs that was anticipated. Like, we thought, damn, drafted high, number 2 overall, right away. But the path wasn't the way we saw it. The world wanted to see this guy with that last name and related to the kid Bo. We wanted to see him go dummies and with that size, 6'3", 245. We wanted to see him, really take over the league as a runner. And his pace wasn't as fast as what we was waiting for. So, when we the media, we quick to throw, titles on guys and started just, whisper, bus, 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 bus. And I think it was way too early. I just think he just, had a, guy in the backfield that's been playing at a high level, still in smoking haze. And he took his time. I guess, sometimes the speed of the game just doesn't uh, kick in as fast as it does for most guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even though he was lights out in college and well anticipated in his draft class, but maybe things were in the way of why he didn't have a fast start. And part of it was because he wasn't the starter yet. But this is his first full time, and he's only 3 years in full time. First season where he's been a full time starter. And even with that, he got smoking haze over there, still cutting into his carries. Because if he wasn't, he would have more than 152 carries right now. I think he's on pace. With 8 games left, he's on pace to reach that 2,000 yard mark for sure. So now that we got him active, we get to follow what he's got going on right now. And again, it's running backs that I'm skipping that you guys see on this list, but the ones I'm talking about is the ones I think that are worthy, the ones that I think that are hot right now. And then you got Walter Payton Jr. And as much as I want to say this guy's hot, my hot will gonna come off of what he's done in the past versus right now because it's not his fault, but he's in a lot of computer games right now. So a lot of it is not even what he's doing, but he's the reason why Walter is doing what he's doing because he got him going 2 seasons in a row. So he's had big 2 seasons in a row where he had really good yards. Been playing really well for the Bears. Giving them a real running back in their backfield. So shout out there. Now you see a guy like Danger up here, right? 129 carries. That tells you with him only having 129 carries, that flat out tells you that there is another player on that team cutting into his carries right now. But when you special, you special. 15 rushing touchdowns is big time on 129 carries, right? And you look at the bright spot for the Steelers and why they're winning ball games is right here. Herschel Walker Jr. 830 yards, 5 yards a pop, 12 touchdowns. And then you come down to the guy that only got 96 carries, 815 yards, but he averaged 8.5, right? But the lack of production is keeping him from being, you know, who he can absolutely be. I mean, he's averaging the most yards per carry right now than anybody in the league, but the production ain't there like all the rest of the running backs. So I would say my sleeper to pay attention to going forward would be Jalen Hayden. I think he's starting to catch fire right now. This is a running back you gotta keep notice, keep paying attention to. The next one you want to keep paying attention to is Journey Brown over there for the Seahawks. He look like he's starting to get it a little bit as well. Um, my question backs right now, where what's going on with him, will be what's up with Zamir White. Why is Zeus only has 148 carries right now? We like the 10 touchdowns though. Um, I also would say Camden Man. Pay attention to Camden Man. Another one of those backs. And then you can't ignore the quarterback that's doing what he's doing as a runner right now. We haven't seen this since Lamar Jackson in his days as a Baltimore Raven. Right now, Darren Thomas is looking like he's the runner out of all the best runner out of the quarterbacks going on. That's dual threat right now. He balling out. We definitely want to keep pace on Big Sanders. Again, I think Big Sanders has the bus written all over him, and we're not talking about that yellow bus that comes down, pick the kids up, drop them off. We're not talking about the bus that played for the Steelers. We're talking about bust, meaning he is a fraud. He is not who he's supposed to be. Where he at right now, he ain't doing nothing that's impressive for who he's supposed to be. Um, at all. So that's the running back position. They my hot or nots right now. I have to keep it on moving over here to the wide receivers and who's doing what. Now look, we had this conversation, right? Tight ends are balling right now. If you pay attention to it, you see Gilbert and Jenkins are still doing what they doing right now, right? Dig deep catches right now, man. This guy has 80 catches on the year right now with 8 games to go. So he'll touch that 100 plus. Postman with 59, Savage 58. Then you got 2 running backs back to back, 58 and 57 with these guys. I'm going to the yards right now. All right, so going into week 11, we have quite a few guys that's catching the ball for their football team had already touched that 1,000-yard mark right now. And the first one on here that's averaging the most yards right now. And it's not by a lot, but he's there. 80 catches, 1303. He's averaging 16.3. And he has 1,303 yards. He's leading all wide receivers in this category for yards right now. 99 Reasons is second with half the catches, 1255, and then they're doubling the 25.6 average per catch, 139.4 and 15 touchdowns. Bolin for the Patriots, man. We talked about him being here with 1243. You got Tyquan Thornton, one of those young guys that you want to pay attention to, 1214. And you got the diaper dandy Boone McCoy with 1143. Your next 1,000-yard guy is Jermaine Pierre. We already know who Mr. Pierre is, you know what he can do. And then there's the kid Darnell Washington, Mr. DW, with 47 catches, 1,011, 21.5 yards a pop. Guys that's on their way to that 1,000 yards is Ward, Boseman. I would say Waddle. I would also Hendricks, Candy. And then we'll stop there if you're in the nines right now. Let's look at the touchdown, guys. All right, so Gilbert at 23, DW at 18, 99 Reasons at 15, Boone McCoy at 14, Sheldon Warwick at 14, Bolin at 12. You got Thornton with 12, Boseman with 12. All right, so let's look at some of these receivers up here right now. I'm going to stay on touchdowns, and in the process of staying on touchdowns, what I want to do is I want to talk about, stick with the topic, hot or not right now. Follow me, fellas, for a second. All right, so you come down here and let's go all the way down. So it stops right here. So Quandre Harrison. All right, so what we're seeing is this. What we're seeing right now with the Houston Texans is that their system works. All right. I mean, their system worked. They got, two receivers in double digits and a running back in double digits as far as touchdowns. So they're putting points on the board. With only 18 catches, 736 yards. Just think about this: 40.9 yards a pop and 10 touchdowns. So this guy is their deep threat player right now. When you line up and play Houston Texans, you better watch out for this guy because he's averaging 40 every time he catches the ball. So he's a problem. This is somebody that's hot right now. You got to pay attention to it, and we'll keep our eye on him because he's again 5 years in HBCU college, but he's doing some things over there right now that's very special. He's hot. Warren Newman, man, comes from the HBCU as well, Jackson State, 10 touchdowns on 49 catches, man. He looks like the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, drafted him and they plugged and played him right away. He's a vital part of their offense with 49 catches. Now, you could tell he's doing a lot of slot work for this team because his average is at 11.9. That's tight end numbers, you know what I mean? But that's slot receiver numbers as well. This guy, he's eating up. He's eating now. He's a first down every time he catches the ball. So, he's caught the ball 49 times. So that's 49 first downs for sure, right? And then he got 10 touchdowns as well. So Warren Newman, that's a puzzle piece to the Buffalo Bills offensive madness. That's what I call their offense. That shit's, whoops. That's the oop gang. That's what they are. The oop gang over there. They go yard on you. If you don't look up, somebody getting a dime dropped on them somewhere between 30 and 40 yards downfield. Now Warren is built to be able to run by defenses, but you can see what he's doing. He's building this guy up now. When you look at a guy that come out the draft, and you see, oh my God, he got 99 speed right now. He came out 98, 98, right? Now, with green arrows up, you start to see, and you can look at the numbers, his catching is a 5, but it's only 80. So this is work. As fast as he was, what he had to do was build this guy as a true receiver. And the best way to do that is to have him in the slot and let him get dirty, right? So then you put him in situations where he's going to catch in traffic, right? He's on, he got to make plays in the middle of the field. He got to better get vertical. He got to better, run drag. He got to do all the route tree from that slot position and heavy traffic. So if you want to get a guy built fast to be able to really do the things you want him to do, you do what Hoodie did. And you put him in the slot and let him get to work. You start to see, again, those arrows up, release. You're not going to better jam this guy. He goes from a 94 to a 98. and that means he's been working on him because he probably upgraded there a couple of times too. Special catches up +2. Now you got a little guy that got bunnies, can jump 95, that can go get the football as well too. So that gives them a really, really, really crazy weapon to go along with Poole and then the other two receivers they got over there already that was playing in that system. But I think Warren will be vital to what they got going on too. They had a rookie that they drafted the year before who was I think it's Sky Moore that was balling out for him too. So I think they got three-headed monster, four-headed monster at the receiver position, not even counting the tight ends. But they're doing a really good job with him. He's hot right now, in my opinion. You look at Michael Mayer, man, again, the best tight end in the draft. He comes out the highest overall tight end in the draft, and yet he's still, producing. He has double-digit touchdowns. He gives the Colts another dimension to their offense, man. He gives them another player that they can, attack. They can really do some things with. They already been really good on the outside receivers. They had about two or three receivers that played really well for this team, and now they got a tight end in the mix as well. I think once the coach start to gel their team together, and stop putting new players on the field and starting 4 or 5 new guys every year, when they get into the rhythm of just letting their guys grow together, especially with the young quarterback and Ritter, when these guys grow together, they're going to be a problem. And then it starts. I think it's going to start with the Notre Dame guy. I think he's going to end up being their number one weapon. He's going to kind of remind me of 99 Regions for his offense, for the Bucks offense. How he's the number one target. He's the guy that keeps the engine going for that team. I think Michael Mayer can be set up to do the same thing for the Colts. Yes, he's hot right now. Rayshawn Hendricks, 52 catches, 17.5, 100 yards a game, 10 touchdowns. See, my thing is this gives them, they are Bryce. Listen, at the end of the day, Bryce Moss is still the tight end for the LA Chargers, right? And we already know what Mr. Pierre can do. They found their true number two receiver in Rayshawn Hendricks out of Miami. You're looking at a 6'3", 220 guy that got Tyreek Hill speed. I think they found their guy. The problem with the Chargers is do they play him to his ability? What is he as a receiver? So let's dig into his numbers real fast and let's take a look at it. Speed, obviously, right? Deep route running at 90, that's big. Special catching 96. He's a 95 jumper, 97 release, actually a 94 with +3. Um, Medium 82. We're looking at catching traffic. That's an 84 with a +3 with it. All right, so what do they want to do with this guy? They got a guy that can blow off the top of any defense. I don't really see him in those situations much because if it was, you would see a higher average per catch right now. 17.5. It's really good still to me, tight end numbers. But for a guy with this type of speed to be able to stretch the field the way they do, I would think you would see a lot more deep balls. Now he got an 82-yard touchdown. Obviously, that's his longest catch. I don't know if it was a touchdown or not, but 82 yards was his longest catch, and he got a low run after the catch average right now. So he's not really, making plays with the ball in his hand after the catch. This is the guy that's just making plays 52 times. He catches the ball. He's a walking first down as well. Damn near walking 2 first downs. But the potential is there. So I'm not going to call him hot right now because I don't think, what his credentials and what his attributes look like, he's not being played or used the way I think they can really use this guy. Again, but they're using a quarterback that's in his second season, but his first year as a starter in a kill glass. So they got a lot of work to do over there before they can get that thing to be like the tires to be turning all on on the right pedal, I guess, if that's the word you want to use. So there's work to do. So you got Mr. Reliable and Bryce Moss, and then you got the other Mr. Reliable and Mr. Pierre. They're reliable, so they're going to help a young quarterback develop and grow. And then this guy wants to be the guy for that team. So hopefully he's going to grow in that process with him. And Waddle at 8 years, and the Dolphins said it earlier. You look at a coach on his way out the door. He said some things over there. They out of control over there, but he's still consistent with 20.8 yards a pop, 10 touchdowns. But Waddle numbers are down this year. So why is the question. So we have to dig into it. I'm gonna have to really do some homework over here to find out what's the reason why Waddle ain't really looking like the Waddle that we used to seeing him be. And even with this, this is a poor man Waddle stats, but he's still better than, half the league. Most, damn the majority of the league with these numbers. Now, what's a little concerning for me is that if you look at the rack run after the catch, 172, he's literally averaging 3.9 yards. So he's not that explosive Waddle that we used to see. I don't know if it's because age, being in the league 8 years, or is it something that they're doing offensively that just keeps him out of those situations? But I'm not gonna call him hot at all right now. Candy, 42 catches, 902, 21.5, 90.2 yards a game, 11 touchdowns. To be the number one receiver over there, uh, all right, you give him credit that had 11 touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards right now. You give him credit because they're playing with a brand new quarterback. All right, so he was being thrown to by one of the greats and Patrick Mahomes, and now they have another quarterback in play right now. So you got to give him that window. So I'm not gonna say he's hot right now. What I'm gonna say is he's in an adjust period right now. All right, Chadwick Boseman. See, the thing with him is he's really legit. He's really a super threat from anywhere on the field. And the fact that he built him as a guy that run by anybody, he's not just that though. He gets the 50-50s. He can run the whole entire route tree. He doesn't have to considerably be a deep presence, the entire time. Although that's what he's known for. But just think about what he's doing this year. 16.1. Activity means a lot in production with your guys. So if you're not on the field making the plays and doing the things you need to do as a coach, and the computer's putting your numbers together for you, then you're not in a good situation. So I'm gonna say he's not hot right now, even though he has 12 touchdowns. Not hot in my opinion. In fact, he in a fucking way. All right, Tyquan Thornton. So all this was who gets him, right? They didn't. He wasn't drafted. He was signed after the draft, restricted free agent, undrafted free agent, whatever you want to call it. But this is hot right now. This is what you want to see out of a guy that comes in the league, the fastest man in the league, Tyquan Thornton. 34 carries, the same way you see as running back with not a lot of carries but a lot of yards. You're looking at a guy that's averaging 35.7 yards a pop, 121.4 and 12 touchdowns. You see, two guys on that team right now that are deep threat receivers that go and stretch the field. And you can see it without watching the Texans play, even though I played them already. Without watching them play, and you just look at the numbers of their receivers and then their running back, what we saw already, we see, you know, the run game works so well. A lot of stuff is open for the passing game. Kenny Pickett is in a great situation. If you're a quarterback, you want to come into a 6'4", flying, 6'3", fastest man in the game. And you come into that and you got these guys, look at him. He averaged a 9.4 after the catch, so 318 yards. He's and 83 was his longest. Um, this kid's legit. And out of the young receivers we seeing right now, he's the guy right now. Like I would really, beg to differ and say nobody's doing it better than him right now. Um, is he the number one threat there though? Possibly. I would say possibly. I mean, they got two dogs. And that's what you want to see. You want to see guys, the two receivers on your team, your one and your two, pitting in work right now, where you can, you're comfortable to go. When he get to the playoffs, he's going to be comfortable to go to either one of these guys, and they're going to make plays for him. Any more? Nah, I'm about to go to the store in a second. Bolin, just two. Did you take one with us when we went to the game? Or you just grab one out of it? Yeah, check real fast before I go. All right, so Bolin, 46 catches, 1243. He averaging 27. Like the numbers is there, right? 124.3 yards a catch, 12 touchdowns. And then you ask yourself, is this still the works of the run game, the system? How good is this receiver, right? Because you've been seeing lately his numbers been there for the last 2 seasons. He's been putting in work. But then you ask yourself, like, the route tree is not wide open for him. What it is you're dealing with a 6'4" guy that if you catch one on one, he's on fire. You're not going to better stop him, right? Thank you. All right. But his route tree, is everything's off the play action with this team and with him, and his route tree is literally crossing routes. And if you still worry about the run game in New England, then you're going to be stuck with dealing with a guy that can. Yeah, he do catches. He do catch. And you know what? Let me not do that. Thanks, 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 young Camden, because that's true. He does. This guy, he's a dog. And you know what? The Patriots is completely using him the way he's supposed to be using him. He's a dog. Because I said that. He does catch the 50-50s. He go yard. He definitely catches his 50-50s. But it's time and it's understanding what you got on your guys, understanding abilities, and putting them in that situation. Because the moment he's on fire, you got to stop him from going up and getting that football. It's just that simple. And he's great at doing that at 6'4". And then he's a speed demon as well. So he's doing exactly what a number one receiver should be doing for a team like that, especially a team that's more based off the run game. This is what your number one should look like. He should be dominant. He should be out there putting in work, and he's doing exactly that, man. And you know what? I think he's super hot right now. He's been hot for the last couple of seasons, and the more the Patriots start to find that passing game, the harder they're going to end up being to stop. And they're up and down right now. And at times they look like the old Patriots that won the Super Bowl, and at times they look like a team that just don't know what they want to do offensively or defensively, right? But and somewhere in between that, Bolin is still the consistent apple that they got over there, right? While everything is green, he's the one shiny red apple in the middle of the little pale bucket when you go and bobbing for apples. He's there, the one you trying to get, right? He's that guy. And he's a nightmare for most defenses, especially because of that system. When we got guys in this league that benefit off systems, he's one of them. And I just think that he's playing at a high level. I would say Sheldon Ward is not hot in my opinion. I think he's been disappointing in his career. He's been behind guys that's had to shine more than him, and when it's his time to shine, he's behind more guys that has to shine before him. With that being said, he's still a hot receiver. He's completely hot, Sheldon Ward, right? Um, 29 for 975, 33.6, 108.3, 14 touchdowns. But he's not the man, and we've been. It's almost like the Boone Jackson situation. Like he came out, the name Sheldon Ward is a known name in our league. So Boone Jackson comes out, and then Sheldon comes out, and we're looking for Sheldon to be that guy where we just like, all right, he's the guy over there. He's going to end up having 3,000 yards receiving and do some crazy number shit. And yet other guys have keep coming on this roster and taking his shine. And to be honest with you, I think the Cardinals is missing their window to get rid of this guy and send him to somebody that can really benefit from him. Because they're not maximizing what he's about at all, right? Even with that being said, he only has 29 catches. He's almost had 1,000 yards on 29 catches. He's averaging 33.6 yards a pop and 108 yards a game with them 14 touchdowns. And then he's literally averaging 11.1 yards after he catches the ball anyway. So run after the catch is there for him. He's walked by you, 91-yard touchdown. He's legit. He's that guy. But I just think for the Cardinals and what this guy was coming out, he's underachieved, even though he got big numbers. Now you can ask me, and he probably would have said, "What the fuck is you talking about?" Go to his numbers. His numbers better than most guys starting receivers, and I would say, yeah, you're right. I mean, 2,000 yards, 2,000 yards, 2,000 yards. So let's go. One, two, three. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's had four 2,000-yard seasons, and he hasn't had one season under 1,000 yards. Yet he hasn't had one season under double-digit touchdowns either, right? And I'm still saying we haven't seen him at his best because he hasn't become the number one receiver for this team. And how many years you see football? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 8 seasons, we haven't seen him yet be the number one receiver on his team. So even though you see 2,049 yards, 21 touchdowns, he had two other receivers that had better numbers than him. Same thing in this year. Same thing in this year. He's never led the team in yards receiving or touchdowns ever, even with this 30 touchdown season right here. Maybe right here, 68, 2,148. But I'm just saying, we know what this kid, you see the numbers, you know what he can do. When is he going to have his opportunity to be the guy over here in that offense, especially in the passing system that they got over there? So in my opinion, I don't think he's hot right now. At all. And 11 games left. He's gonna watch this, and it's probably gonna piss him off enough to better show us. But anytime God, I'm not. I just think that for who he was, the name that he is, and who we made him to be, he should be the guy. And eventually, we should see this guy do some really monster shit. You know what I'm saying? Like where you like, damn, right, there you go, 3,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, 30 touchdowns, some shit like that. I want to see that because I just want to see him be the number one, and we haven't seen that yet. Over there with him, Darnell Washington, he's hot, right? But again, when you're talking about a diaper dandy, this is his first season. It's a breakout year, so because it's a breakout year, you can say it's hot what he's doing right now, but it's still a breakout year. He's gonna have to do this again to show us that he's arrived. He's really here. He's really that guy, right? Um, Jermaine Pierre, Mr. Pierre. Everything's there in my opinion except for the touchdowns, right? So I'll go right by on that. Brew McCoy, 34 catches, diaper dandy. Like we like the numbers, like that 1,143, 33.6, 127 yards, 14 touchdowns. And my story with Brew would be I want to see what you're going to do with the schedule you got and the guys, and you got to play guys now. Can he still stay with Brew McCoy? I would love to see it. I would love to see him because this is one of my favorite players. So I would love to see him, continue to build him and do the things that he was doing against again, not his fault, computer games. We want to see him put the numbers up against humans. So we love what he's doing. I think he's hot right now. No homo. He's a hot receiver right now. And he's going to be the next Bucks great, right? And you can see it. You can see him developing him into that. But we also want to see, how does he fare against guys that's calling good defenses and things like that and putting them in situations? Is Brew going to be on the field, or are we going to see a veteran like Ruggs back on the field getting the ball thrown to him? Or is it going to be, the Brew McCoy show where we can absolutely see how great he really is? So I like it. We talked about Thornton already, Lynn Jenkins. You know what he is. At this point, you can argue Jenkins ain't just the best tight end in the league. You can argue he's the best receiver in the league. And then Eric Gilbert having a monster year, but it's a breakout year. So until we're gonna dig into it right now. Let's go look at some of this defensive shit going on right now. Oh my bad, I didn't mean to come out of this. Yes I did. I meant to come out of this. I go over there and check out the award race right now. So always start off with Coach of the Year. We got B Murray for Texans, Christian Holmes for the Jags, Falk for the Cardinals, Nick Sirianni for the Eagles, and the Eagles is playing really good football. And you got Mike McCarthy for the Cowboys, who's also playing really good football. You get top 5 coaches right now. All right, league MVP Ruggs is looking to pull that third trophy out, and then put it on his trophy shelf and just look at it and say one more, and we are absolutely the best running back in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history. They're chasing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers old running back and Ronald Jones. Joey Cummings is right there though, so is Springs. You see our running backs are balling right now. Top 3 are running backs. Number 4 is Kyler Murray. Number 5 is Jerry Bradshaw in that race. Now some names that we usually see on the list or we don't. So we see Bass, we always see him on the list. Production is always going to keep him there. But we're looking at DT, the golden child, Darian Thomas Jr. for the Philadelphia Eagles at 7 right now. That's huge. I don't know if he's ever been on this list before, but what I do know is he is balling for the Eagles right now, and he is absolutely at this point right now the best quarterback in the NFC East for sure. Now, come on, man, we got a defensive player called Young. on this list of MVP. You know, it's hard for a defensive player to win it. I think Corey will miss a game or two. That's going to stop him from being able to do anything. But if he can continue to keep averaging 5 sacks a game, bro, man, who knows? Travis Etienne Jr. is all, you know, he's the guy. He be up here. He's Mr. Break the first tackle man, right? And then Kenny Pickett in his first season as a starting quarterback is number 10 on the MVP race. So that's huge. Let's look at the AFC right now. Offensive Player of the Year: Springs, Bass, Etienne. Keep rocking. See who wins that. Ruggs, Cummings, Kyler Murray. And keep doing what they do. Now, Defensive Player of the Year: Devin White, Old Man Devin, $200 million man, and Old Man Simmons. Top three in the NFC. AFC, your defensive players are as follow: Colt Young, Najee Israel, and then Deion Harris are your top three there. When you look at offensive rookies of the year: Diaper Dandies, Darnell Washington, Michael Marriott, and then Warren Newman are your top three with Jamari Gibbs, Kendall Milton, DJ Ugalele, Zach Evans, Puka Nukua, Marvin Mims, and Spencer Rattler, who doesn't play whatsoever, but nobody else's rookies are either. Gilbert McCoy, Bryce Young. The guy that I like better than any of these guys on this list is right here, Jeff Sims. I mean, he came in to compete. You know, he was uh, a silent player that wasn't, you know, expected to do much. He was expected to learn red shirt, and he came right in off the tree and became the guy. You know what I'm saying? Right away. He's lights out, man. This guy is as advertised, and he's ahead of the game right now. I thought it would need him to be, you know, sit behind, do little for a year, develop holding a clipboard, and he came in the league and said, "Not so fast, my friend." So I really like the fact that he's there. I'm going to continue to follow Anthony Richardson, obviously, being another one of the quarterbacks that's playing right now as a diaper dandy, to see if he can change it around, right? And then we just going to stop there. I'm not going nowhere else because it's really the top three. Right, defensive rookies of the year are Marquise Wilson. You know, he's a first round pick. This was one of the corners that wasn't nobody expected to go in the first round, but went in the first round. And as you can see, he's leading rookies right now. Savell Smalls holding it down. He got to hold it down for the Giants, though, because they lost some big pieces at that linebacker level to better bring in Bryce Young. So I like this. And then you got Fabian Lovett, who can be at D tackle or defensive end and has the speed to play with any, you know, to play anywhere on the D line, actually, speed and strength. Florida State stand up. You already know that. Fabian Lovett is a monster, and he's going to get the most out of this guy. And I think they found their next great pass rusher. Just honorable mention: Keontae Hampton, Jackson State, and Adissa Isaac, top 10 pick, is sitting on this list. You always want to see your top 10 players that got picked in the top 10 somewhere on this list. In the AFC, the defensive rookie of the years are as follow: KJ Henry, Eli Ricks, Jamie Robinson. They're your top three, right? Jamie Robinson was a sleeper pick for the Steelers, big time. He's still at 500. Eli Ricks, number one corner in the draft. Obviously, the number one corner in the draft. As you can see, 8-2. I need to see his numbers. But KJ Henry from Clemson, another one of those Clemson pass rushers that's dominating. And Hoodie does what he do every year, which is take somebody young, build them, and make them who they are. Simple as that. All right. When you look at best quarterbacks, it's Weber, Iverson, and Glass in the AFC. And the NFC is Bradshaw, Murray, and DT. Rightfully so. Flat out rightfully so. All right, we're looking at best running backs. Springs, Bass, ETN are your top three in the AFC. In the NFC, you're looking at Ruggs, Cummings, and Harold Street. That's the race between those three. At the wide receiver, Boo McCoy, Sheldon Ward, and Boseman are your top three there. AFC, your top receivers are Bolin, Thornton, and Pierre. I like this race way better than the other one right now. Offensive lineman, Devontae White. Texans is holding it down. Man, Falk is getting dethroned this year right now, man. You got to turn it up right now. You got two guys in front of you. Sheesh. All right, you're looking at Sean Fowler for the Cowboys, and then the Bucks got Dean Bailey and Quincy Keenan holding it down right now. And it looks like Clay Oates, after winning the 2 years straight, he's fourth on the list right now. D-line, we're looking at Tyreek Smith. We saw that. Cumberland. Calvin Green is your top three. Man. I like these guys, bro. Really do. Even Parsons, man. Even Parsons. Damn. Oh my God. All right, the AFC D linemen are caught young, self-made. KJ Henry, and then Gabe Coles are your top three, man. My boy Sean Price is in here. Another Baltimore Raven dog and things right now. But the top three we're talking about is these three. All right, best linebackers in the AFC. Shaq Presley, Johnny Wilson. Texans, man, they everywhere. Baltimore's Ray Lewis, and then Jeremiah Water. Four. These Texans everywhere, though. NFC. Best LBs. Devin White, Isaiah Simmons, and then Boyan Mafe. Man, he's the next up in line to be a super man, listen, beast. That's all I'm gonna say. Top three. AFC. What we looking at? Linebacker level. Preston Wilson, Lewis. Boy. Yeah, you see how I stopped on. He balling this year. All right, and then wait, did I do both sides already? Make sure, just in case. Yep. All right, DB room. Irons, McCoy, and Ali are your top three. AFC, you're looking at Harris, Najee, and Franklin, the cornerback for the Chiefs. I like that he's up here, 2-8. We don't want to see a better record than that, but we like the fact that he's the standout in that secondary. He's showing that he can shut down number one receivers, and he's doing a pretty good job of it this year. All right, fellas, that's your show. And here's the franchise guru, hot or not. Now I'm talking about we'll come back with the rest of this things right now and get some games coming in. I'll be back within the hours to do another show. This show is a little bit more important. That's coming back. It will be episode 8, Real Talk the Show. Tune in time. And I'm, didn't forget y'all. Max got the list of those that get that unlocked rookie situation that I gave out. The next gift I give out will be a player upgrade. So be prepared to tune into the next 2 shows to find out when. Is it going to be the next show tonight or the next show tomorrow? Who knows, but it'll be a gift in it. Holla at me when you holla at us. Gone.